rank indignity involving maggots and responded, like Tara, by screaming like a boarding school girl in a lesbian horror film.
There you are, do you want to get out? Do you want to get out?
You know, Ant and Dec were incredibly supportive. They were really nice, and they were actually very sort of compassionate and sympathetic while I did it.
Sorry, get back in! Yeah, go on, get back in, it's all right. One meal.
Yeah, that's one. That's one done.
You know, they subject these stars, these alleged stars, to the most awful humiliations, the most awful ordeals, and they giggled, and yet you never dislike them. You know they're not sadists, they're just guys, they're like viewers. They're enjoying it, but not to the extent that they're enjoying the contestants' pain.
They're like naughty little chappies, aren't they, really? There's just something about them. I mean, they're fully grown men, but they're little children, really.
One of my favourite moments was probably just seeing their really, really childish reaction to Paul Burrell.
Move over, darling. Move over. You can move them gently. Move over, darling. Go on. Let me get the star. Please let me get the star. Don't bite me. Don't bite me. I want the star. I only want the star. I don't want you.
You know they're not putting it on. Their genuine reaction to him being completely ridiculous and hysterical is what their reaction would be if they were just watching it on TV, but they're there in front of him with him. So that kind of moment is a fantastic Ant and Dec classic moments, I think.
With another huge hit and yet more awards under their belt, it seemed Ant and Dec really did have the Midas touch, but they weren't finished yet. After the break, the pair staked their entire reputations on dancing dogs.
That's an animal act. It walks backwards.
And senior members of the royal family. By 2002, still only in their mid-20s, Ant and Dec were TV veterans on a roll. And now they had the silverware to prove it.
Please welcome the winners of this year's Special Recognition Award, Ant and Dec.
This prestigious award, one of over 60 they've landed to date, marks them out as newly anointed TV nobility. In 2006, they got to meet the real thing, and William's arcane music knowledge saw him get one over on his dad.
I can't keep up with all the different new bands and everything else that bob up on the scene.
One you did miss was PJ and Duncan. They were very good.
And embarrassed the normally unflappable Geordies.
That's those
They
two.
were. we had a very brief music career a few years ago.
I think once the royal family start wanting a bit of your magic to rub off on them, you know you've arrived.
A year on, our court jester's next move was also by royal appointment, this time finding an act fit for a queen.
It's called Britain's Got Talent, and a lot of them are very talented, but a lot of them have got that, you know, those funny talents that you should only really keep to your bedroom or the pub.
Reviving their pop idol roles as good cops to TV's Mr. Nasty was a shrewd move, spawning their biggest hit yet.
I think Ant and Dec may be at their absolute best for me during Britain's Got Talent.
Hey! The normal laws of physics don't apply to this girl.
They saw the potential in that show. I hear it was like their idea that they stood in the wings, and that's what makes that show so successful.
That's an animal act. It walks backwards.
Oh, it was really nice because they calmed your nerves before you went on stage, and they always cracked a joke, and it was just great fun. Me and Jin have a similar relationship to Ant and Dec. As we work together, we're best friends, and we basically do everything together.
To the delight of 14 million viewers and the Geordie duo themselves, there were some genuinely jaw-dropping moments.
Their reaction is completely genuine, it's completely real. No one was told.
Whoa, it's kicking off, man!
they considered us to be the Asian Ant and Dec, which I suppose is fair enough. You know, if you see the resemblance.
With every single person, every contestant, even the crew, the car, everybody, they were brilliant.
Staying true to their down-to-earth Geordie roots has certainly served the duo well down the years and kept their feet firmly on the ground.
I don't think success has changed Ant and Dec as people that much, really, because they could easily have fallen into a showbiz lifestyle and got involved in drink and drugs and getting off with pretty young things in TV, but it just doesn't seem to have happened.
They've kept grounded and kept it real, and they haven't surrounded themselves with idiots either. They surrounded themselves with their mates, and they still do. I know for a fact that, you know, they go up home whenever they can, and their families, and they played a big part in keeping their feet on the ground.
Outside of Newcastle, they're probably the most famous Geordies in the country.
Yeah.
Within Newcastle, other than Alan Shearer, I would probably say they're the most famous Geordies in the city as well.
I met them at the National Television Awards, and I really haven't seen them for like 8 to 10 years, and they both were like, Dale Meeks, and came over, gave us a hug and handshakes and stuff, and it was just like old times. It was fab. They haven't changed a single bit, which is it's brilliant. It really is great to see.
No surprise then that when Ant married long-term girlfriend Lisa Armstrong in 2006, Hello Magazine was nowhere to be seen.
The wedding day was actually a very special day because it was very much them, their families, you know, the friends that they've known, and it's kind of indicative of what they are about.
And of course, Ant had the best man in the business.
It was lovely. I think it's still probably the best man speech that I've ever heard. Very, very funny. I don't remember laughing quite so hard as that one.
Next-door neighbours before the wedding, could Ant and Dec's close relationship survive the marriage? Of course it could, because shortly after Ant and his new bride moved, Dec bought the house 3 doors down.
I don't think it makes any difference to their professional relationship, and certainly not to their friendship. I think it's all, you know, it all intertwines perfectly.
Ant and Dec had become the media's untouchable golden couple, but when TV was rocked by a series of phone scandals in 2007, even they got caught up in the shockwaves.
Trust me, I have a very suspicious mind. One of the most suspicious minds you'll ever come across. I don't for a second think they knew a damn thing about that.
Rather than turning round and saying, oh, it wasn't us, it was a researcher, it was someone else on the team, they said, yes, we take responsibility, this is what's happened, we promise you this won't happen again, we apologise, and this is a system that is now in place to make sure that your trust can be restored in us.
And when they unwittingly received an award intended for Catherine Tate, there was even more media uproar.
The British Comedy Award, it wasn't Ant and Dec's fault at all, and you could tell that the public faith in them, again, the trust was still there, because next time they were nominated, they won.
And we'd just like to ask TV Quick just to make sure we definitely have won this one.
Yeah, just check. It's our name.
Just don't want this one. Don't want this one coming back to bite us on the arse in 2 years' time.
Yeah.
So, they've survived 2 gruelling decades at the top. They've escaped from kids' TV and conquered primetime. They've lived through everything from a genuine attack by the Taliban to pointless tabloid outrage over symbolics on primetime TV. So what is going to go right next for the dynamic duo? Rumour has it that Simon Cowell wants them to take over as hosts of America's biggest show, American Idol. So will we lose them to the Yanks?
America would fall in love with them if they could understand what they were saying.
Why should the Yanks have everything?
Or for the strongest partnership in showbiz, could the unthinkable happen?
I think it'd be very, very difficult to see that those two divorce. They're married, and I think they're for better or for worse, for life or for death.
Ant and Dec split? No, it's absolutely impossible.
Without Ant and Dec on a Saturday night, it's like having, you know, a curry without poppadoms.
Be like having fish without chips. No, you just don't do it.
If I had my best mate who I was working with day in and day out and we worked great together, then why change it?
Knowing them off camera and seeing them on camera, there is no difference. And that's what the audience detect. It's what the audience smell about them. They're authentic. They're the real thing. And I think more than anything else, that explains why they've become so hugely successful and hugely popular.
From Miss Tweedy of Pop Stars' Arrivals to Mrs. Cole and Girls Aloud, and now she's an X Factor judge. The Cheryl Cole Factor is next Wednesday at 10 on 5.